1. A woman takes pictures at the Tianjin Binhai Library in China on November 14, 2017. The futuristic library has wowed book lovers around the world with its white, undulating shelves rising from floor to ceiling. But if you read between the lines, you'll spot one problem. Those rows upon rows of book spines are mostly images printed on the aluminum plates that make up the backs of shelves. Fred Dufour AFP Getty Images 2. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin and his wife Louise Linton hold up a sheet of new $1 bills during a tour of the Bureau of Engraving and Printing in Washington on November 15. Mnuchin and U.S. Treasurer Iveta Carranza went to see firsthand the production of new bills, the first currency that will bear their signatures. The new bills are expected to go into circulation in December. Jacqueline Martin AP3. People carry the U.S. flag during the Veterans Day Parade in New York on November 11. Eduardo Munoz, Reuters 4. Protesters are hit by a water cannon as they try to march towards the U.S. Embassy during a rally against President Donald Trump's visit in Manila, Philippines on November 12. Athit Parawang met the Reuters 5. A light projection designed by Daniel Margraf lights up the Catharina Church during an art festival in Eindhoven, Netherlands, on November 12. Robin van Lonkhuizen EPA 6. Iranian victims of an earthquake gather outdoors near a fire in Sarpolzaksab, Iran, on November 13. Sunday's 7.3 magnitude earthquake devastated the western Iranian town, and killed more than 530 people and injured thousands. Photos. Earthquake on Iran-Iraq border leaves swath of destruction. Poria Pikiza EPA 7. President Donald Trump waves from the door of Air Force One as he arrives in Hanoi, Vietnam, on November 11. The country was the final stop on President's 12-day trip to Asia. Photos. Trump on tour following the president through Asia. Luang Thailand EPA 8. Fallow deer stand on a meadow as the sun rises near Frankfurt, Germany on November 14. Michael Probst AP 9. Italy's goalkeeper Gianluigi Buffon reacts during their World Cup qualification match against Sweden at the San Siro Stadium in Milan on November 13. Four-time champion Italy failed to qualify for the World Cup for the first time in 6 decades Monday after losing its playoff to Sweden 10 on aggregate. This will be only the second World Cup missed by Italy. Marco Bertarello AFP Getty Images 10. Workers try to remove a car lodged at the entrance of a house in Mandra, Greece on November 16. Greeks voiced despair and disbelief after a flash flood killed at least 15 people and left hundreds homeless, with many blaming a system that allowed houses to be built on dried-up riverbeds. Petros Giannakouros AP 11. Children ride swings in a playground surrounded by smog in Lahore, Pakistan, on November 11. Smog has enveloped much of Pakistan, causing highway accidents and respiratory problems, and forcing many residents to stay home, officials said. KM Chaudhary AP 12. Locals gather around 2 sperm whale carcasses at a beach in Banda Aceh, Indonesia, on November 14. Indonesian volunteers managed to save 6 whales beached on the northern tip of Sumatra, but 4 died. The rescuers worked late into Monday night to free 6 of 10 massive sperm animals using ropes and patrol boats and turn them back into the waters off Aceh province. Hadley Samanhonak EPA 13. A rose is placed on a chair inside the First Baptist Church in Sutherland Springs, Texas on November 12. The congregation gathered for the first time since a massacre took 26 of their fellow parishioners lives a week ago. The church said it had undertaken a number of efforts to transform the space into a memorial that paid tribute to those who died. With the help of volunteers, organizers labored around the clock over 72 hours to repair and restore the sanctuary. Photos. Small Texas town mourns victims of church shooting. Eric AAP 14. A member of the Air Force's Wings of Blue parachute demonstration team salutes as he jumps out of an aircraft during the opening ceremony of Aviation Nation 2017 Nellis Air and Space Expo at Nellis Air Force Base, Nevada on November 10. Kevin Tannenbaum U.S. Air Force via Reuters 15. Men feed seagulls along the Yamuna River on a smoggy morning in New Delhi on November 17. Samau Kandawal Reuters 16. Vietnamese children wave flags before a welcome ceremony for President Donald Trump at the Presidential Palace in Hanoi, Vietnam, on November 12. Luang Thailand pool via AP 17. Participants sit on the floor in front of a poster during a break at the UN Climate Conference COP23 in Bonn, Germany on November 16. Oliver Berg DPA via AP 18. President Donald Trump pauses to drink water during his address to the nation, covering his foreign policy accomplishments during his trip to Asia. At the White House in Washington on November 15, Trump's water break drew instant comparisons to Florida Sen. Marco Rubio's 2013 speech after then President Barack Obama's State of the Union address. During the 2016 campaign, Trump frequently skewered Rubio, his one-time GOP rival, for needing to quench his thirst during speeches. Jim Loscalzo EPA 19. Protesters hold out their phones during a pro-independence demonstration calling for the release of jailed Catalan activists and leaders in Barcelona on November 11. Former Catalan President Carles Puigdemont and several members of his separatist government fled north to Brussels after Spanish authorities removed the region's top officials from office. David Ramos Getty Images 20. North Korean students walk past the central station in Pyongyang on November 16. Ed Jones AFP Getty Images 21. Tens of thousands of nationalists march in a demonstration organized by far-right groups in Warsaw, Poland, on November 11, as Poles celebrated their country's Independence Day. The far-right march was one of many events marking Poland's rebirth as a nation in 1918 after being wiped off the map for 123 years. But the march has become the largest Independence Day event in recent years, overshadowing official state observances and other patriotic events. Some participants expressed sympathy for xenophobic or white supremacist ideas, with one banner reading, "White Europe of Brotherly Nations." Radek Petrushka EPA 22. Paris Raul Ruidiaz, Jefferson Farfan and Christian Cueva celebrate after the team earned the last spot in next year's World Cup on Wednesday night when they beat New Zealand 20 in Lima on November 15. It will be Paris' first trip to the World Cup since 1982. Ernesto Benavides AFP Getty Images 23. Indonesian farmers work in a field as Mong Sinabung volcano spews thick smoke in the background in Karo, North Sumatra on November 16. Mount Sinabung roared back to life in 2010 for the first time in 400 years, after another period of inactivity. It erupted once more in 2013, and has remained highly active since. Ivan Damanik AFP Getty Images 24. A woman poses for a selfie in front of the carcass of a humpback whale on Ipanema Beach, in Rio de Janeiro on November 15. Biologist Rafael Carvalho said the whale appears to have been dead for a few days. Authorities were urging beachgoers who had flocked to Ipanema on a national holiday to stay away from the animal. The week. In pictures November 3, 10 Silvia Izquierdo AP.